as promised, I'm gonna go front to back on the Chevette so far. What's been done and the plans to get it back on the road. This right here is Justin Williams, my father. But I guess we'll start up here.
Yeah, well, I mean, it's just kind of a car we found. We just kind of wanted to do something and build something just with stuff we had laying around the shop and try to make it as budget friendly and use as much stuff as we have here without having to buy anything. And we found this old car on Facebook. It was local. Guy bought it from the original owner. Lady bought it brand new in Eden. So we had an old motor sitting around here. Figured we'd clean it up and stick it in here. And this is the start of it.
How about the motor mounts?
Well, they don't make kits for Chevette V8 conversion, so I just took some metal that I had around here and just kind of beefed up the frame a little bit because it's a unibody car. And I had some Moroso solid motor mounts laying in the shop. These here, I had them, so I figured, well, I'll just make motor mounts to go to these.
Right.
And didn't have much scrap metal, so I found these two spacers here. These are actually spacers for an alternator, GM alternator. They're pretty thick metal, so I took that round stock, cut it to the length, and I didn't really have any flat stock, but I had some old leaf springs laying around, so I cut the leaf springs, and that's what these pieces are here, is just old leaf springs. And I think you already saw the picture of the motor sitting in the cart, everything lined up. It was pretty tough getting everything lined up to miss the steering shaft and the oil pan to miss the cross member there. But I don't know, we got it in there. It was kind of tight back here where the distributor goes. I wanted to leave the heater box, but it was so tight I had to take the cover off of it to. We'll figure out something, either block it off or maybe try to modify the box so we can still use the heater.
Right. Yeah, we were talking about the headers too. We're gonna have to.
Oh yeah, the headers. I thought maybe I could use manifolds without having to buy anything, but we're gonna have to have block hugger headers that dump out in the center, and they're still gonna be tight. Yeah. It's gonna get fun going around the exhaust going around the steering here, but we'll get it figured out.
And you were saying for the that tunnel right there. Using.
Yeah, we're gonna put this Saginaw 4-speed in it, and we got it all mocked up in there, and everything was tight. It's pretty tight in this tunnel. This would have been the clutch arm that goes in it, but when it's in the car, this is actually hitting the floorboard. And I had thought about me redoing the floorboard there, but then I decided, well, you know, they make hydraulic throwout bearings, so we'll just put a hydraulic throwout bearing in there, and then there'll just be a line, bleeder line coming out, and we won't have to worry about modifying the floorboard.
Right.
Gonna have to cut a little bit for the shifter to come up to the floorboard at the right place, but I think it all worked out. And I guess once we drive it the first time and explode the rear end, we'll figure out what rear end we're gonna put in it.
Yeah, you were talking about the all the male Jeeps and stuff from back, like what, I don't know what year models, but you were saying.
Yeah, most of your male Jeeps have Dana 44 rear ends, and they're mostly all positive traction because they need to get around in the snow. So
yeah,
I think it's the right width. We can kind of make that fit under there. I've read some reading on the internet. A lot of people use S10 rear ends. So make it that route.
Right. It's kind of linked together because it's coil springs on the back still.
Coil springs on the back with a one traction bar, I guess you'd say.
Right.
I want to kind of keep it all stock looking. I want to make it look just like that, but have a little more under the hood.
Right.
So that's mine and Seth's 76 Vette.
Vet, yeah, we're telling everybody we're fixing a vet, and then when they show them pictures, it's this thing.
But I think Seth's gonna clean it up under here and probably.
Yeah, that's another thing we're gonna do today. We definitely want it. The orange against the blue looks really cool. Painting the motor orange was my idea. So I guess we'll get in here and clean up. I guess that's oil or whatever, just dirt and grime. And I'm gonna paint the motor mounts to make sure they don't keep rusting and everything.
And don't pay attention to my welding. I'm not a welder. It won't break, but it ain't pretty.
Right. But get the interior too. It's fairly decent. We tried to get these seat covers off too, but it looks pretty good. Stock seats. Dash is a little beat up, but for the most part, I think just vacuuming it out and just keeping it old school, and the headlinder's still in it. It's pretty good. Like Dad said, the goal is just to make it stock on the outside and have a little more go on the inside. That motor's got the thumper cam. I don't know what kind of, just comp thumper cam.
Yeah, it's basically stock with just a little thumper cam. We did put a stock GM aluminum intake on it. It ain't, you know, really performance, but cut down a little bit on weight.
But that's it so far. That's where we're at, and we'll keep rolling. I'll probably do a video of me cleaning up this engine bay, just kind of doing my thing. As you can see, Dad takes care of more of the mechanical stuff, and I just try to help as much as I can. I'm not trying to get in his way, but I don't know. I think it's gonna be fun.
His
it's gonna
fingers are too valuable.
Right. It's gonna be fun. It's gonna be dangerous more than anything. So this thing was pressure washed, but no soap or anything was used. We just kind of got some of the grime out of the way to make it nice to work on. But best thing you can do on a nice hot day to clean any grease or anything off a car, engine bay, whatever, just went to Dollar General and got this oven cleaner. And that stuff works the best, especially on a hot day. In fact, that's what I used on the small block in that video, all that foam. That's exactly what it was. And it took several times because you probably see it was rainy in that video, kind of cold, but it's kind of warm today, so it should help a whole lot. And I also got just some brushes right here. So. Okay, so not too bad, especially on the passenger side. It's a little bit of, I guess, blackout from the battery. I don't know what that is. It's almost like someone just oversprayed black paint, but scrubbed it as hard as I could and it just wouldn't want to come off. I really don't see any point on trying to touch up some of these places, if anything, when I go to paint the motor mounts, just to stop some of the rust down here, and especially kind of along these quote-unquote, I guess, frame rails. I'll just paint it black. Back here, I think some of this, just on this wall here, is just grease from the master cylinder and everything else. It kind of looks like some type of glue or sealant they use for the wires too, so water and oil wouldn't go inside the cab. Some of that kind of melts over time. I don't know what that stuff is, but I'm surprised it's not as rusty over here with the battery tray as it is like with the, I guess, the overflow and the washer fluid over here on the frame rail. So already did the boring part of sanding or scuffing up everything so the paint will stick. Passenger side is going to be fairly easy to paint, but the driver's side is going to be a little bit different. Got some brake lines and one fuel line here. I'm just going to paint over all that. I'm just going to basically get right there. Since I'm painting the motor mounts black, I'll just go ahead. Figured, well, we'll get the whole frame rail painted all, and we'll just go until about the back of the firewall there. Got some nice shiny gloss paint from Dollar General. because Dollar General is the best. Alright, got it masked off. It's not the prettiest, it's just enough just to keep the overspray off of the blue. Like I said, it's probably not even going to be seen, but better safe than sorry. And no, that is not masking tape, that is box tape for shipping, and that is all I had. Thought I had some, but I didn't have any body masking tape. Alright, so she's been drying for a little bit now. I guess we'll pull the tape and see what we got. Missed a little bit. There's some few spots I'll just have to go back and touch up, but when I get the right tape, it'll be easier to do. But all in all, for the first little go around, it's alright. I don't claim to be a paint and body guy. Let's get this thing off the stand so you can see what's going on. All in all, pretty good. This was the main thing we were focused on anyway. The rest of it was just kind of icing. And all in all, I like how it come out. Ties in nice with the cross member. Once that gets all cleaned up, it'll look just fine. But exactly what I wanted. It'll be a nice breakup when you look down past the engine a little bit. And you can see the kind of looks like a frame rail, so looks nice and beefy. But that's what some very sticky shipping tape and some cheap spray paint from Dollar General will get you. And if anything, that looks, I mean, that looks SEMA ready to me.